Hello.
Hello.
I'm coughing again. Brian's been sick and he got me sick through the wonders of the internet. I'm coughing season since I got on this call.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Second Butt Podcast. This week we're doing, season 3, episode 13. The Subway. Originally aired on January 9th, 1992. It's their return from Christmas break.
Okay.
And Elaine's pregnant. Julia is pregnant. Elaine is not. But when you watch this episode, she's carrying a present around and wearing a baggy jacket most of the time.
Gotcha.
And when she looks uncomfortable, there's a subway in this episode, spoiler alert. When she looks uncomfortable in the subway, it's all morning sickness. She said she had morning sickness all week. And when they had her looking uncomfortable, it's because she felt like she was going to puke. So. Yeah,
because I knew that there was episodes of Seinfeld where she was pregnant, so they hid that by like either having her behind the counter or like they're at Monk's and her carrying things. I didn't even think about it. It was this episode.
Yeah, it all starts here.
Yeah,
and there's a subway in this episode. Yeah, and they rented that subway from Warner Brothers because they didn't want to build a set because it's too expensive. Warner Brothers had one, so they rented it. And then when it was being returned on a flat deck, the person driving the truck went underneath an overpass and destroyed the subway.
Oh God!
So they had to pay Warner Brothers for to replace the subway. So they built a new one, a collapsible one that claps down, folded away and stuff. And then that's what they use every time they have a subway from now on. They use this new set they built themselves, and then movies and stuff end up using that as well. They shared it around. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the last time you'll see this subway in anything because they destroyed it on the drive back.
Nice. That's a nice little tidbit there. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this episode, I mean, is a great one. It's kind of cool how they wrote this one because it's the main gang there, but each one of them separates and they have their own story.
Mm-hmm. So
kind of originates on the subway. I mean, we'll get to it, but they each have their own side story.
They have their own story, all using the same set, but none of them. They filmed the opener and the closer together, and then everything else they didn't see each other the whole week. They didn't work together at all. It was all individual takes. So.
Yeah.
Because George said that he was sad on the commentary. He said that he was sad because he didn't get to see everybody all week.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Let's see. So it opens up with a stand-up routine a bit about bumper cars as a kid. It's like, oh, you like the bumper cars, but you sometimes would be stuck with that one that doesn't work, and you're just there, and you're like everybody's just rhyming into you, or you're not. It's not going. I'm like, that would be like, the attendant or whatever. It's like, hey, it's almost over. I didn't even get a bump anybody. Or it's like a commentary about how there's always that one father-son team that they're just helpless. They have no idea what they're doing. It's like, all right, Johnny, all right, turn the wheel the other way, and they're just going in circles.
No coordination.
Yeah. So, let's see. All right, and then goes to Monk's. Opens up the episode at Monk's with the four of them: Elaine, George, Jerry, Kramer. Kramer's going on about which trains to take to get to Coney Island. It's just a long, convoluted list of like trains. Go here, get off here, but don't go there. He's just going on. And then Elaine kind of, comes in at the end. It's like, couldn't he just take the D train straight to Coney Island? And then Kramer's like, well, I mean, yeah. Like he didn't even think about it. And then like, and then I like Elaine's line. She's just like, okay. It's like this little scene between the two of them. Kramer's in his own world, doesn't know that he's being annoying or, pissing off Elaine. You can tell she was just astounded by his stupidity, and then she's also tired of it.
Yeah.
From the get-go. It could be like how you said, maybe Julia, she may have been like not feeling well, and it just like comes off as like, I'm just pissed. Which just makes it funny.
Yeah.
All she says is, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, you fucking idiot that I'm hanging around.
Yeah.
But so, and then she goes on to ask George when his interview is. Kind of sets up what George is doing for the day. George is looking for a new job after getting fired for sleeping with the cleaning woman. And then Jerry makes comment, to George, don't whistle on the elevator. It's from Death of a Salesman.
Yeah.
Willie Loman says it to Biff before the interview in that book. I read that book in class, like in high school, and I don't remember a goddamn thing about it.
No.
Like, not a clue about what happens. None of it.
I have to read it again.
Yeah.
Just get the cold notes.
Yeah. Like, I think there's a movie too, right?
You can probably watch a 10-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
One book in 10 minutes.
Like the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
I remember reading it in high school, and I'm like, just nothing stuck.
Yeah.
If it's not about sports, I find it really hard to concentrate. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference. Elaine says, she's got to get going, and then Jerry asks, when's the lesbian wedding? And it sets up kind of what she's doing for that day. It's kind of just like, this dialogue was kind of just like, okay, sets up, oh, hey, George, when is your interview?
Yeah. It's like, what's
George
is going? Interview, lesbian wedding, Coney Island.
George is going to an interview today. It's kind of like, that's kind of like maybe a weak part, but I'm like, okay, I get what they're doing.
That wasn't even the beginning. Like, in this episode, Jerry goes to Coney Island. Elaine goes to a lesbian wedding. George has a job interview.
Find out this week on Dragon Ball Z. But also made me think, a wedding on a weekday morning at 9:30 a.m. is when this wedding is.
Yeah.
So it makes, and because you have to assume it's a weekday because George is going to an interview and then Kramer's going to court. So it's not going to be a Saturday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it makes you think like, okay, in the morning? What kind of fucking weddings in the morning? And then also on just like a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
Yeah. It seems like the writers thought we wouldn't catch that one.
Not
bloody likely. And then George tries to riff on, a lesbian wedding. It's like, hey, what about this? Says, how do they work out the bride and groom on that? Do they flip a coin? And then Elaine, yeah, they flip a coin.
Still annoyed.
Like just annoyed and blowing him off for a stupid ass question. And then George gets on the defensive. Was that not politically correct? Watch out, the gloves are off. Old Georgie boy is coming up for all you snowflakes.
It was good for them to put that in an episode in 1992 and just kind of have it normal for Elaine to be going.
Yeah.
But then George had a good line there too. He goes, I get the feeling when lesbians look at me, they're like, that's why I'm not heterosexual.
Yeah. That gets an applause. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
There was like an applause after George says that. It makes me think that there was like another line that got edited out.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I'm like, that's not applause worthy.
No, it's just kind of
like he just says like, oh, hey, that's, I don't want to be with that guy. Woo!
Yeah.
Standing ovation. People just start doing the worm.
Yeah.
Whoa. But yeah. So, and then they got to go. And Kramer's saying, hey, Jerry, hurry up and pay. Kind of thing. And then they all
checks, we can go.
Yeah, they all leave him with the bill, and that's just normal. And Jerry's like, bunch of cheapskates. What do you think I made of money?
Yeah.
So in the next scene, they're all on the subway.
Yeah.
Kramer's got a stack of traffic parking tickets there that he's got to go to court and pay for. So he's got the whole lot of them. He's got speeding, no plates, no brake lights, no rearview mirror, no door. And that's
no tires, no brakes.
Yeah, that's when he's fighting that one.
Yeah.
Mentioned it's going to cost like $600 all these tickets. So, and as they are kind of talking, a blind guy comes up playing the violin, and then kind of wanting tips, kind of deal. And then George makes up excuses like, I can't pay, I can't carry change in these pockets, they just fall out. Da, 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 da. All the while, the three others just tip the guy $1, some change, whatever. And then George makes a comment and says that guy isn't even blind. Like the way he had his cup of change on his shoulder there, and he kind of moved in the direction to have Jerry put it in. And then that's when George, he's like, this guy.
George is only paying attention, so he doesn't have to give him money though.
Yeah.
That's the only reason George would know it. I'm not giving him money.
Yeah, which I mean it's actually true. Like, you could tell like the guy wasn't blind.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh. But anyways, Jerry, he tries one more time to try and convince one of them to, blow off whatever plans they have to go to Coney Island with him. He's picking up his car because they found it.
Yeah.
It's in.
They're continuing stories on. Like, if you didn't watch that other episode, you'll be totally lost here. You would not know what was going on.
Yeah, but it's, I guess, earlier in the season when Jerry got his car stolen because I can't remember the guy's name. Left it on the keys in the car and unlocked. So, just. And it was Larry David calling on the car phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like they found it. It's in better shape than before. It was Simonized, and the front end was unlocked. So, they all, can't, they have other responsibilities. They got shit to do. They can't just blow it off and hang out with Jerry at Coney Island, getting some hot dogs and bumper cars going on.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry just doesn't really want to go by himself, which, makes sense. You can't go on rides by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you could, right?
You could.
So it made me think of let's see. So maybe last year or so, I went to Disneyland with my family. So my sister had the kids, brought them down. And then, my mom, and everybody's just like, oh, family, we're taking the kids. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go. And I'm like, it sucked.
Yeah.
I'm not a theme park kind of guy. Definitely not really a Disney kind of guy. But I was like, oh, okay, it'll be good. I'll kind of hang out. And it was fine. I'm sure, the kids had
Warm, you
fun.
had to walk places. Didn't have enough water.
Yeah. And it's just, not my bag. I'm not really
We enjoy roller coasters and stuff, but I think Disney sounds like a really big place with a lot of place between things and not roller coasters.
Yeah, and I think we went during summer, which it was bad because it was like everybody's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's like packed, it's hot, it's busy. Anyways.
They're going a Wednesday morning in February.
Yeah, or October is pretty good.
Avoid
It's a
the
random,
crowds.
random weekday. But anyways, I saw a guy I knew from San Diego there. He was just by himself. Like he was leaving the park because we were waiting for my sister to come with the kids and we're going to meet him and go. But yeah, so I saw this guy I knew from San Diego. I was going to say hi, but I'm like, I didn't really give that much of a fuck. And we're not like boys, but he's like an old radio DJ in San Diego. He used to run the Sunday local show, so he knew my band, stuff like that.
Okay.
We're not like I said, we know of each other. I'm gonna be like, hey Tim, but I'm like, anyways, it made me think. I'm like, so he just went to Disneyland by himself.
Yeah.
Like a grown ass man.
Didn't have to wait for anybody. Didn't have to make
Yeah.
decisions with somebody. He just went.
Yeah. So I mean, you think I'm like, okay, he just went there by himself. I guess that's a thing that you could do. People do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you just go to like a theme park or a type of like, Coney Island type of thing just by yourself, just to be like, hey, I'm hanging out here
I probably wouldn't any of those places, but like the Star Wars one at Disney, I'd probably do that by myself if I had no one to go with me.
Yeah. I guess the Disneyland's, maybe an hour drive or so. For me, you'd have to fly across the world.
Yeah,
Practically.
yeah.
But it just like made me think, I'm like, oh, like there's that Mario Land thing at Universal Studios in LA. I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to go. Not really that much, and not really that I would go by myself.
Yeah, I think that's more enjoyable with somebody for sure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe think, it's like different than, going to a movie by yourself.
Which I'll do no problem now. I
have no problem doing that.
there was a time where I'd be like, you can't go by yourself, but
We're going.
I totally would now. Just
I think we've done this already, but it's like going to a restaurant by yourself.
yeah.
Would you go to a sit-down restaurant by yourself?
I probably wouldn't leave the house to go down to a restaurant, but if I was out somewhere and I had to eat,
Yeah.
I would definitely eat wherever I wanted to eat.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just made me think. I'm like, who would go to like? Jerry kind of has a point. I wouldn't go to like rides by myself.
Yeah, no. Especially like
Anyways.
bumper cars and stuff. No.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you
Anyway.
had a Coney Island like place by you. Then I remembered. Oh yeah, he has Disney. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's also a park kind of by the beach here called Belmont Park, kind of
Okay,
Mission Beach. So I'm in San Diego. For those, I think kind of mentioned that earlier. But yeah, it's like we're right by the Pacific Ocean, that beach. And
Yeah.
there's a cool little like kind of Yeah, like the roller coaster. They got bumper cars. They got some games and shit like that. Yeah, by the beach, Belmont Park. It's pretty. I haven't been there since I was like a kid, but I'm like, oh yeah, it's there.
Do you guys have a subway system? I'm assuming you do.
We do not. Not
No.
like this in New York. LA has one, and we have like a trolley.
Okay.
We have a train that goes up the coast, and then go up California coast. But as far as like a train to like get around San Diego, no. There's a trolley that nobody uses.
Oh, really? That's sad.
Oh, and Kyle was here. He's like, look at that. So my buddy Kyle, my co-host for Tone Jerks, lived in San Diego pretty much all his life, but the past couple of years, maybe 2 years ago, moved to Texas. And so he came to visit, and he's just like, look at that. What a waste of money. That trolley. Not a damn person on it. I'm like, all right, calm down.
Then he shoots his gun in the air.
How dare they would just waste tax dollars. Like just
spit some chewing tobacco. Spit
just,
out it. Straight
what
from
a
Texas.
yeah, what a wasteland.
Tony Hawk runs by grinding the wire on the trolley.
Yeah. But yeah, no, when I went up with I was in LA with Train, a buddy of mine, and we were riding the train. And there's different underground subways and stuff like that. Made me think like, oh wow, this is kind of cool. I guess if you there's probably you could be in LA and not really need a car.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the whole idea with like New York. A lot of people can get by without having a car.
And it's pretty easy to figure. Like we went to New York for a couple of days and figured out the subway system. It's pretty easy to figure out, and it was great. You go anywhere you want, just go on the train, and 5 minutes later you're there. And then Boston's the same. Like Boston has above and below ground, but mostly above ground trains that get you around. It's nice.
Nice. Is there anything like that in Nova Scotia?
No,
they have like train system. No.
Like the bus system in Halifax, and that's about it. There's a train that like goes through, but not for local use.
Yeah, kind of like basically the one train in San Diego is kind of take you up the coast and pretty much to LA and San Francisco. Yeah, all that stuff.
We're going to Montreal in November. We might take the train just to kind of not have to drive and just relax. And there's like a dinner car and stuff on it. So I will just yeah, that's an option, but not for local getting around. There's nothing really, just the buses.
Yeah,
big sticky
and
buses.
The train that we took to get from San Diego to LA was funny because there's actually like I don't know if he's like conductor or whatever, but he's actually dressed up in a costume like a conductor.
Oh, really?
He's going around checking tickets. I'm like,
George Carlin's
you like
on
this
the train?
Yeah, it's like you like this job way too much. This guy is really about his job. He loves this shit.
Yeah.
Checking people's tickets, make sure there's no stowaways. Gotta throw you at the next stop.
Yeah.
Anyways, so back to the episode. They get off the subway and then they all go their separate directions, pretty much without saying anything, except for they kind of all stare. They all stare at each other and they're like, mm-hmm. And then Elaine, is the last one there. She's like, "See ya." Just like no one's gonna say goodbye. So it kind of goes and sets up their individual scenes here. So Jerry, he sits across from a man, Ernie Sabella. He doesn't have a name in this episode, but he's the actor.
Yeah.
He'll become more interesting in the episode a little bit later. George sits next to an attractive lady. Kramer can't get a seat on his car. Just has him kind of rushing to find a seat. Keeps getting pushed over. Falls
Physically
over.
assaults everybody on the
car. And then he squeezes next to some Cartman-looking fat guy.
And that guy totally could have pushed over, and there was room.
It looks like Cartman if he was real and grew up.
Yeah.
So and then Jerry keeps falling asleep on some random guy there.
Yeah.
And then goes to George, and he's kind of notices that this woman he's sitting next to is kind of flirting with him. She kind of is like, some of the body language there, kind of trying to have him notice, like, oh, look at my my legs. Oh, kind of wearing a short skirt. And George is like, oh shit. And he starts talking with her and flirting with her. And then he's like, "Oh, you looking for a job?" He's like, "No, I have a job." He basically is lying to make himself into something.
Yeah. Checking the market.
Yeah, of course he's not jobless. He's doing very well. Very well.
He would have been better off being jobless in this situation, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Yeah. So he's just lying. It's like, "Oh, what market are you in?" "Well, I'm in the big market." He's just bullshitting. So he's just
big board, bull market, bear market, you name the market, I'm there. He's just like,
and then he's just spouting bullshit, and it's working like a charm there.
yeah.
So he's like, "This is great." We'll come back to that later. So Elaine, she gets on her train and she's standing. She actually, as the train moves, she kind of accidentally bumps into a woman. And the woman brings up, is like, "Oh, I've been riding these trains for years. And back in the day, men would give up their seats for a woman. But nowadays, since women are, liberated, we got to stand."
Yeah.
And then Elaine, mentions that, "Yeah, it's ironic." And then the woman goes, "What's ironic?" And then Elaine goes to explain how they've come all this way, made progress, but they lost the little things, the niceties. And then the woman goes to follow up, say, "No, what does ironic mean?"
That was a good line. That was a good joke.
That was so stupid. It got me. I'm like,
this is like pre-Alanis Morissette. It's
yeah.
Well, not pre-Alanis Morissette. Pre-Alanis Morissette ironic.
Yeah. It's just this woman is so stupid. Elaine is speechless. She's without speech.
Yeah. And that woman's the one that sold the Ghostbusters, the firehouse. Ashley picked up on that one. That was Ashley's pick up of the podcast.
Pick up of the podcast. Nice.
The podcast
pick up of the week.
Pick up of the episode was the realtor that sold the firehouse.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And so now she's playing this woman on the subway who
in the next line is a bigot.
Yeah. Well, she goes on, yeah, and bury the lead there, but yeah. So she goes on, talking with Elaine, asks if she's going to a party because she knows she's carrying a present. Elaine says, "Oh, it's a wedding gift." She's like, "Oh, weddings," just kind of just banter, just a bit of banter, back and forth, and just talking about like, "Oh, I didn't think people got married nowadays, the youth nowadays." Boom, 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 boom. She's working on her bit.
Nobody wants to work anymore.
Yeah. She goes on about marriage. It can be tough. Men and women these days, yada yada, that etc. Elaine's just kind of being vague, like, yeah, oh yeah, no, I hear that, kind of thing, just to kind of like, hopefully this woman just doesn't pry anymore. But of course she does.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, may I ask, what does the man do? What does he do for a living?" It's like, no, she. It's like, "Oh, she works, the husband doesn't," like a deadbeat kind of deal.
Sounds like my son.
Sounds like my son. She's probably hoping for a big laugh there.
Yeah.
Whoa. Just everybody on the train just starts just doing the wave. Whoa, she's hilarious. But anyways, so then Elaine, kind of breaks it down. It's like, "Oh, it's a lesbian wedding. I'm going to a lesbian wedding, and she's the best man." And then this woman makes a comment about how she doesn't talk to anybody on the subway for 35 years. And the first person she talks to is the best man at a lesbian wedding. And then she storms off. Like she's offended by that or doesn't want to be associated with that kind of thing. It's like...
But Elaine's next line was delivered perfectly.
Yeah. Elaine, she's storming off, but she's yelling at the woman. It's like, "I'm not a lesbian. I hate men, but I'm not a lesbian." Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Anyways, but that was a good Elaine line. "I hate men, but I'm not lesbian."
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know, like maybe it's just because it's been 30 years or what, and I'm from, liberal ass California, but it doesn't seem weird to me the fact that this woman would be like, whoa.
Yeah, no.
Lesbian wedding.
I think
my whole world is... Yeah.
If I saw two people of the same sex get married, I don't even think about it at this point. But I went to a wedding. Two men got married. And then when I got back to work, like we went away for it and we came home. And one of the guys goes, "What was a gay wedding like?" I'm like, "It was like a regular wedding with dudes." Like, what was that question supposed to... What were you looking for an answer? Right? Like,
well,
I'm not sure what you wanted.
Just more dudes.
Yeah.
Dudes rocking.
Yeah, just, such
Or
a
is
weird question though. I was like, if it was a wedding, two people that love each other.
He thinks it's like that SNL commercial. Was it with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley? Is it like
beer commercials?
Schlitz beer gay or whatever?
Yeah.
That's what he thinks it is. Hot dudes, and he's like, "Whoa."
I miss Good Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, it's fucking trash now.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was just kind of funny. It's like I guess maybe back then it was a bigger deal. But yeah, so it goes back to Kramer. This time he's on his train. In his car, he got a seat, and there's two guys next to him, on different benches there.
Yeah.
One guy's reading the paper, and then he gets up and leaves the paper just on his seat. And then for a second, both the second fella and Kramer kind of stare at each other, and then they fight over the newspaper.
So good.
Kramer loses because he only seems to get like a little strip of paper. He tries to just read that.
It's like one column. He gets like the Dear Abby story without the solution.
Yeah. So, and then it cuts back to Jerry. He's still sleeping on his train. Back to Elaine. I like how it kind of just cuts. Everything is pretty quick, and cuts back to Elaine, and her train stops abruptly. And like, that's no good. She got a wedding to get to. And then back to George, and his lady is getting off on on this next stop here. She wants George to get off with her.
Get off with her.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, but I'm sure you're busy because you're have work to do and da-da-da, so important job, da-da-da. And then George is like, he just blows off his second interview to pursue this woman. He's like, hey, what's another million? And then he runs to go after her. And she's attractive, so I get where George is coming from. Gotta just fuck that job, there'll be another job.
It's like,
so he runs.
There'll be other jobs, but there'll never be other women. That's what he's going for.
That's exactly. George is like, I know my odds. There'll be other jobs, but this woman. So he runs after her, and then he kind of gets stuck in the train doors, and he's like, starts spazzing out George style. He's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm stuck a little bit. Oh, don't start something. He's like yelling, don't start the train. He's trying to be smooth, but he freaks out.
Yeah, he just can't keep his cool.
No. And then he goes back on Kramer's train here. He's sitting there, and he overhears a tip for a horse race. A couple of guys, are just I don't know, horse racing, I don't know, slang or whatever. There's this. I can't even repeat some of it because I already forgot. But it's like once he goes to like, oh yeah, what about the rain? Well, this horse loves a slop. His father was a mutter. His mother was a mutter.
His mother was a mutter?
What did I say? But he just talks about, it's like he's got a tip. He's like, oh, how do I know? It's like, oh, because my UPS guy. I got this hot tip from my UPS guy.
This is the world before internet, folks.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I've never lost. And so like these two guys that Kramer's like just eavesdropping on, like they're like, oh, we got to go to the bookie. Let's go. And then Kramer's like, what should I do? He's visibly torn at this point. He's like, you could tell. He's like, what he wants to do. He wants to place his bet, but he also needs to pay his tickets because he's, so he's like, they'll take his car, but he's like, I could win big on this horse. And so Kramer's like, okay, that's him. His scene ends there. Pretty much we know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
We know Kramer. He's not going to do the responsible thing. So it goes back to Jerry, and he's finally wakes up to a naked Ernie Sabella across from him, just reading the sports section. And
this scene would not go over today.
So he just
this will go over less than the lesbian wedding mockery.
But he goes, I like Jerry's first thing. He's kind of like takes in the situation. And he's just okay. Like it's like this is what we're doing now.
Of
It's
course
funny
you
that
realize
they-
you're naked.
Yeah, the whole car, like the passengers, are backed up against the wall as far away from the naked man as they can be.
Yeah.
And then Jerry's just going to sit there. Okay. So this actor, Ernie Sabella, I guess notable roles. He was the voice of Pumbaa from Lion King. And I'm like, all right. He's the naked man and Pumbaa. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun fact. I had to look up this guy. I'm like,
Pumbaa was also naked.
So he's training for the role in this one.
Yeah.
So Jerry starts talking with the naked guy. He says clothed or naked doesn't make a difference to this guy, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's like just nonchalant. What's the big deal? Jerry's obviously not a fan of this. He's thinking that the guy could do, with a little exercise, maybe skipping breakfast. You're not a half.
I could imagine sitting there seeing a naked guy, and the first thing you're gonna do is just fat shame him.
Fat
in front
shame
of 20
him.
people. Like, just,
He's like, I'm sure you're not a half a grapefruit and black coffee kind of guy. He's like, no, I like a good breakfast. No shit. That's kind of what Jerry would want to say. He goes on to say, I'm not ashamed of my body. And then Jerry's like, that's your problem. You should be. That's pretty good. So he's just fat shaming this guy. And then, because he's the only person talking to him.
Yeah.
He's just like only person on the train is going to talk to this naked guy is just Jerry dunking on him.
and that line got me when he said, "That's the problem. You should be." That did make me. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no, that's
The delivery was
iconic,
good.
iconic scene there.
Yeah.
So Elaine's still stuck on her train. She's kind of squished in there with a bunch of people. And then
This is her monologue.
all
It's
her
huge.
monologue to herself is great.
Yeah.
She's just kind of going on and on and on. It's just her. Says, we stopped for rats? He goes, this guy stinks. How hard is it to wear deodorant? You just roll it on.
Yeah.
It says, something's rubbing against me. And then she's like, what if I miss the wedding? I got the ring. What will they do? And she's like, I can't breathe.
It's so good. Like she does
Just
such a good
going,
job.
going. There's even longer than that, but she's just going, getting more and more frantic.
Yeah.
And then the lights go out.
Yeah. She goes
Stuck
on for
this
like a good minute or two.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
Like,
lights
just,
go out.
just getting even worse.
Yeah.
So George goes to a hotel room with this woman from the train. She says, make yourself comfortable. And then she goes into the restroom. And then George is like, oh, okay. Well, what do I do? Should I get undressed? And then he's kind of thinking, like, what if he misjudged it?
Mm-hmm.
And then she doesn't want to have sex. And then he's, naked on the bed and she comes out. What if he screws it up kind of thing? He's like, oh, I got it. I'll just take my shoes off and lay on the bed. I'll be more comfortable. She can't get mad.
Yeah.
I'm literally more comfortable. And then she comes out in like, I don't know.
Teddy, I think it's called. Yeah.
I was going to say, is it a slip or dress kind of thing?
Lingerie of some sort with it.
Yeah. Some seductive nightwear there.
Yeah.
Looks good. George is going to get laid. Let's go. He's all stoked. In his mind, he thinks this is a slam dunk.
Yeah.
A slam dunk case.
No spotty signal on this guy. He's just like, this is happening.
Nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
So, Kramer cuts back to him. He's off the subway. He's now placing his bet for the horse. He's in line, kind of repeating the same bullshit race terms that he heard from the guy on the subway.
It's like the same conversation over again.
Yeah.
And the guy behind him was a Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
He was in the episode with your boy from Boston there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But he does all the same things, saying like, "Oh, he loves the slop. His father was a mother. His mother was a mother.
His mother was a mother?
What did I say?" So he places the $600 he was going to pay for his tickets on the horse, all of $600. Might as well, right? Lose it all. And then cuts to Jerry back on his car. He's talking sports, the Mets, with the naked guy. Seems he's made a friend. They're getting along. People are still like far away from the naked guy, but
They're all
Jerry's like
cuddling in the corner. They're talking about baseball. Yeah.
making friends. And then back to Elaine's car. Still no lights, and they're still stuck. she kind of in her monologue there goes on how she's like she fucked up. She should have taken a cab. $6 and she wouldn't be in this mess. And then I just did a little for inflation there. It'd be about $13 in today's money, which is not bad. They should have just taken the cab.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than Uber.
Yeah.
Uber would be like $25.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's getting worse. She's losing it. Her inner thoughts are just screaming for the train to move. Just move. And she's screaming, move. And then the train starts up and the lights come on. It's all good. And then the brakes screech and stops. The lights come out. And then she just starts cursing in her head.
Yeah, mother.
I like how they do the beeps.
Yeah.
She's like, motherfucker. And they just Yeah. So back to the hotel. George is now just in his boxers on the bed. And the woman is handcuffing him to the headboard there. The audience already knows what's about to happen, and George is just oblivious. You can hear like oh god, you can hear kind of like that tone in people's like, and then George is like, yeah, no, this is good. All right, of course I need to be handcuffed because that's
this woman I just met wants to handcuff me to a bed. It's gonna go well.
Yeah. So she leaves to the bathroom again, which is like, why would she go to the bathroom again?
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, he just making bullshit small talk. Oh, my mom used to walk around in a bra and panties. Okay, why would you bring that up if you're about to have sex with a woman? In his mind, he's like, he's trying to backpedal. I was like, well, I mean, she didn't look as good as you. Yeah,
so
which I
think,
I think is great. Pardon me over my coughing and stuff like that. I'm trying my best here, but anyway, just coughing right into the mic. Sorry. Make sure to leave that in, Andrew.
Yeah, I'll leave it in.
So anyways, so he's just bullshitting and he's like, oh yeah, so and then she's like, oh yeah, keep going, keep talking. And then she finally comes out. She's fully dressed again. And he's like, wait, what's going on? It's like, what the hell do you think is going on, George?
It's wonderful doing business with you, but I have to go.
Yeah. She goes through George's pockets and pulls out $8. So she's robbing him, and she's pissed off that she wasted all her time on him and only got $8. She's like, I'm stealing your clothes too. He's like, that's my only suit. It's $350. I got it at Mo Ginsburg. I mean, what is she going to do with a suit? She's not like going to resell it. I think she's just like pissed off at George. So it's like, I'm going to make things even worse for you.
Yeah, she just threw them away. She's just taking his clothes, period.
Yeah. So he's just screwed, and not in a good way. So back to the bookie. Kramer, his bet is losing. The horse ain't going, ain't winning. And Kramer's like visibly like, my life is ruined. Why did I do this? He's out $600 or so, he thinks. But things turn around as you hear the announcer. And then Kramer's horse wins. And then he gets a big old payout in cash.
After he mimics being a jockey for 30 seconds.
Yeah. He's like a jockey. And he's just like, yeah. So he's all stoked. And then as they're, giving him the cash, he kind of shows off like to the people behind him at the betting place. It's like, hey.
Yeah.
And then that's what he notices, like, what a stupid move. But also it's like, okay, there's a shady character staring at him. And this big guy now follows Kramer. Because, hey, at least a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
Probably, if not more than that.
I think it was just 30 to 1, so it would have been 600 times 30. So a lot of money.
Yeah. What would that be? Would that be $18,000?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, of course.
He's being followed.
Beat his ass and take that money.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the guy starts following Kramer on the subway. And then it cuts to Jerry. And now the now clothed naked man, they're getting off the subway together. They're going to go to Coney Island together. They're buddies now. They're going to get some hot dogs.
Friend.
Hot dogs, some fries. They're going to go on bumper cars. It's going to be a great time. And it cuts back to Kramer. And the guy's still chasing him throughout the subway. And then finally catches Kramer as he runs into and falls over the blind violin guy from earlier.
Yeah.
And the guy starts picking up Kramer, choking him, demands the money, and until the blind guy pulls out his gun and badge. He was an undercover cop the whole time. And he saved Kramer.
George knew it.
Yep. Yeah. So he almost blew this guy's cover. But, this is a gun right in his face. He says better than just like mag dumping on him. He says, and then saying freeze.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba. Freeze, cops.
That's what they do today.
Nowadays.
He'd have 5 bolts before the badge came.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So it's people are cheer because the guy saved Kramer, and then cuts to back at Monk's. Jerry's talking about how he was having so much fun with the naked guy that because the guy never got a name.
But he was no longer naked though at that point. He put his clothes back on.
I think he's billed as the naked guy.
Yeah.
No explanation of why he was naked.
No, he just
why he did it.
Wanted his clothes off.
Yeah, so he's having so much fun that he totally forgot about the car. The police yard or whatever that he was going to get his car from was closed by the time he was done with the fun. Mm-hmm. So he probably should have got the car first and then went to Coney Island, with the hot dogs and such. And he's also mentioned that the guy ate so much at Nathan's that he won a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Did you want it, Elaine? And she's all bummed out. Just get that out of my face. She missed the wedding. So who knows how long she was on that train for, but probably a good while there. And then George comes in. Wearing nothing but a bed sheet.
The guy starts to, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And George is all pissed.
Yeah, how would you like a Hare Krishna fist in your throat, you little punk?
Yeah. But he doesn't want to explain what happened. He doesn't want to say any details. He just wants to get his spare key from Jerry so then he can go home. I think it's also this episode, I think they did do it for a while. They call him Biff.
Yeah.
Biff Loman. What happened? You say... yeah. So anyways, doesn't explain at all what happened.
Yeah.
So, and then they go to leave, and then Kramer, pays for the bill at Monk's, and then he just pulls out a giant stack of cash from his pocket, and then just pays. And he probably never said about what he did that day.
No.
Probably didn't mention any details, didn't say any goddamn thing, which is a good call on his part.
Yeah.
I don't need to just flash a bunch of cash. He's like, but he still has a wad of cash in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like put it in a bank, which knowing Kramer, he probably doesn't have a bank account.
No, he's a under the mattress kind of guy for sure.
Yeah. I had a friend who was like,
big bank.
Yeah, no, I have a friend who was like, we're in our 20s, and he liked to keep his money in cash because, well, if you keep it all in the bank, like what if the bank gets robbed? Then there's your money. It's gone. Like,
I'm actually taking your money.
I'm like, it's not literal money. It's like, if the bank gets robbed, it doesn't mean like, oh, sorry. I was about to say his name. Sorry, Joe. Your money is stolen. You're broke now. Why? Because somebody took all the money out of the vault.
They came and they took the money with your name on it.
Yeah,
you go to the bank and you deposit money.
Literally have
an envelope. They write Brian Gower on the envelope, and they tuck it away and put it in a file cabinet. When you come back, they'll take it out of that file cabinet.
Yeah, they took my envelope of money. Sorry, now I'm broke. Yeah. It's like this cartoon way of thinking that my friend was like early 20s, mid 20s. That's how he still thought. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I thought that was pretty good. I'm like, I didn't even know where. I was like, Elaine, I don't even know where to start.
No,
I'm like, you graduated college. Jesus Christ. Yeah. They did a good job for that. Doesn't know how a bank fucking works. Anyways. So it ends up with a stand-up bit about taking a subway to Coney Island. So riding the subway for an hour and 15 minutes to go on a scary ride. I guess the joke was, then he's like, oh, and then I fell asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
I get how that was really a joke.
I don't know. Just kind of summarized the story.
Yeah, he just talked about, hey, even more so of what happened in this episode. Now I'm on stage. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
The other day I went to work And at the end of the day, I came home.
Yeah.
No joke.
That's the joke, yes.
But I like that they had the stories at the beginning with the blind bum.
Mm-hmm.
And then that wrapped up at the end. And then the whole thing with Jerry always getting the bill and then Kramer could take it. I like how they kind of bookended the story with you know, a little continuation, I guess.
Yeah, and I do like some of the things like you had mentioned, like the car story. They kind of wrapped it up here in this episode. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
George not having a job again.
Still, it's like an ongoing theme with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah,
I like this one. It was one of the higher rated ones too on like IMDb. It was a higher rated episode too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Say we should probably get out of here and lose my voice here.
It'll just be me talking forever. No, Brian.
But yeah, it was a good one. I really enjoyed that. And this is another episode that just like really flies by.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has got to be really short. I mean, I think because there's so many scene changes,
Yeah.
essentially, even though it's the same car.
Yeah.
But it's like
different
subway
stories.
car there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bouncing around a lot.
Yeah. I really dug this one.
Yeah, it was good.
The next one's actually going to be pretty good too. Because I kind of had Netflix play, and I'm like, the next one is the Pez dispenser one.
Yes. Yes, I saw that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to check us out, and if we're online, we're Linktree down in the description.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you probably in 2 weeks. I think we might be back on track now.
Yeah, I think
my beard grew back in. Brian's job thing settled down. He's getting over his sickness. We're all good.
Yeah. If this cold won't fucking take me.
If Brian's still alive, we'll see you on 2 weeks.
Yep.
Goodbye now.
All right. Born.